Alright, so, this whole SMY situation over here on this yard, it was pretty rough. We, all of a sudden, they, up in the bay, one of these dudes from another skinhead family in Orange County, he got in with the big dogs, and, since, he wanted his little crew to be the little fucking cha-cha in Orange County doing all the work and everything, and he created a bunch of smut on a bunch of my homeboys, and got them for some crap. Like, we were all kids at the time, just turning 18, 19. A bunch of them had younger girlfriends that were still underage, so they slapped that on them. Statutory rapes, that's still a bad thing, even though, we were just barely 18, so they just threw my whole crew in the hat. All Orange County skins, they put a green light on us. And that was hard. That was real hard. They, at first, because we still had, like, mass respect on the yards, man, because, we'd been, Orange County skins, we'd been the workhorse for a while, us and the ride, when the ride was still out. But, so we still had respects, and it was just fucking, whack us off the yard. They weren't hitting us. They were just fucking jumping on us, And they told us the situation, what was going on, and they jumped on us. There was 3 of us down there at the time when they jumped on us. And we went back to the hole, and I couldn't accept it. I didn't want to accept it, So I signed off, man, and told them, I'm going back out. So I signed off. And they said, well, you got to sign this chrono saying that, you're okay to go back out. I said, yeah, and I signed that off. Me and my brother Joel, we were there together, and we both signed off and went back out. And the shot caller came up and fucking told us, hey, look, this is the situation with you guys, man. You guys got a green light on you. You got to go or we're going to get you. And we're like, well, we're not going anywhere, man. We didn't do nothing wrong. Here's our paperwork. We're golden, man. And they said, nah, man, you guys got to go. And I said, well, we're not going. So the next unlock, we come out the yard, and me and my brother both strapped because we were expecting something, but we weren't expecting what we got, and they rolled on us, like 6 on each of us, and they stabbed us both up. And they got me 9 times, and they punctured my spleen and a lung, and I life-flighted out of there. It was horrible, and then I still didn't want to accept it. I was like, no, man, I'm a gangster. I'm a thug. This is it, man. I'm doing this. And the squad said, no, you're not. You're going to an SY yard. I said, no, I'm not. And they said, well, we needed to do this whole IYP debriefing process thing. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. They said, well, we're going to put you on an indeterminate shoe until you do this. So I went up here to the CASHAPP in the shoe, and, I was doing violations in and out. And every time I come in on a violation, bam, they slap me right in Palm Hall. And I still trying to kick up with the homeboys, be one of the homeboys. And I'd come in with some dope or something, and still trying to be one of the fellows. I'd hook up the homies and end up getting got, for my dope and not have any dope or any money or anything out of the deal, and just be sitting there feeling like a lump. And then, finally, 4 years into that, I said I would try this SOI thing. So I did, and I did the whole debrief thing, and I hated it, man. They said they wanted me to tell on all my friends, man. And I couldn't do that, and they kept pestering. And so finally, I just told them, everything that I did. I told them, I'm not going to tell on any of my friends. This is what I did. This is why I'm in the hat. This, what I mean? And this is how it's going to be. And so I ended up, they put me on D-yard down there in Calipatria. And I met some dudes down there that, I'd only heard stories about, because they were, Bram was already slammed when I started coming to the prison. I knew him by stories, man. I met this dude, Wendell Norris. He helped me a whole lot with transitioning over here, with being around the other type of people that are over here, not just the people like me, but the other people, the weirdos. He told me, one of the things he told me that stuck and it still sticks in my head all these years later, that I tell newer guys that are coming over here that are having a hard time. I look, man, when you talk to somebody, you don't ask the question if you don't want to know the answer, because it's going to break your heart. And when you look around, you can't tell the difference between those guys and us guys anymore. They look just like us. So, you gotta, the only time I ask that question is if they're trying to walk the dude through my door, or if he's one of my kinsmen where I'm out on the grounds doing my religious thing. I want to see his documents and know that he's a good dude, or if he's somebody that I'm hanging out with all the time, I want to know. And it's hard. It's a daily struggle being around these dudes because, and I got kids, I got grandkids, and I just, everything in me just wants to poke these dudes full of holes, you know what I mean, and wipe them off the face of the earth, but I can't do that, because, my kids don't want me doing that. Eventually one day, I got life, eventually one day I want to walk back out of here, but doing that ain't going to get me. And then, these SY gangs they got over here. When I first came over here, they had two, there's two SY gangs. Now they got, 100, 150 of them or something like that. They got a whole friggin' bunch of them, and everywhere you look, there's SY gangs. I think there's three main white boy ones that, I've been recruited by all three of them. And I don't see the point in doing that. I don't know how you can walk away from one to go get in another. And most of these guys that are in these SY gangs over here on these yards, they're dudes that had never been out there on those other yards, or the dudes that were out there on those other yards, they were just nonstop victims, people that, weren't pushing any weight or doing anything out there, or couldn't do anything out there or be anybody out there. They come over here and all of a sudden they can be somebody, because, most of the people over here are, a bunch of scared ass motherfuckers. And so they form up on these SY gangs. And they're just like, it's creating almost the same political situation over here as there was out there. Only difference is there's so many different groups. Most of the groups, they have the same politics that they had out there, especially like the Mexican ones and the white ones. They all, pretty much the same politics. Like they got this new white one, Wrong Crowd Hate Gang or something like that. And their politics are exactly what our politics were out on the main line. They have to come out in routine every day. They have to, be pressed and dressed and at all times, unless, they're doing something and they're, suited and booted for battle. And it's completely the same thing, and they're making the living situation over here for old timers like me that just want to coast and be left alone. I just want to, go outside, catch some bugs from a lizard, go back in the house, listen to some music, sit out in the day room, play some video games on my little tablet, hang out with these dudes, man. Every time you looked around, somebody's putting in work on somebody for something stupid. They're not, and some of these gangs, they're letting in those dudes that have all that undesirable shit on them. They're looking the other way. But, out on the main line, they're one of the dudes that sent that motherfucker over here. You know what I mean? So I don't understand the point of an SY gang. And being over here, it was so hard. The hardest part was going back to the streets and being the different person. Not being able to go, to the shows, punk rock shows and hangouts and stuff that, skinheads did. I couldn't do that anymore. And those were a major part of my life. My son's mom at the time, she was pretty gangster herself, She found out about this SY thing, and the first thing she did was packed up my kid and ran off, because I'm SY. And I don't understand how they think I'm so different when I'm not different. I'm the same dude that I was all them years ago when I get pulled over with a bomb in my car. I'm that same person. I'm not any different. And it was probably 2 years over here before I was okay enough that I associated with people other than, major high-power dropout guys, big-time gang members. Were the only people I associated with over here for the first couple of years. And then it just gradually you see people that are of a like mind, and you migrate toward them, and you try to be that way. But then, like I'm doing life, so I got to go to all these groups to get in this footwork and this bookwork and all this stuff that the board wants. But in these groups, I'm in these groups, sitting in these groups, and there's some dude sitting up there telling me how I'm supposed to live my life when he was out there molesting children. And I don't understand how the board thinks that's acceptable.